Hey everybody, welcome to Snow Talk. Meteorologist Brian Good here on this Thursday. Tough to get the clouds out of here, but we are getting some sun to break through. It's happening slowly but surely. Our stats, obviously, they haven't changed, though we've had some snow flurries around today, and we'll show you that in a second. Normal to date, catching up to us, 7.1 now, so we need to add on to that, and we are going to. Very high chance of that for next week. All right, on the board, speaking of next week, we have the period of snow showers, accumulating snow. Yes, looks to be on the cards for next week. Is it going to be a lot? Not really, but it could be enough to cause some travel headaches and can certainly create some advisories to be issued. So it is something to monitor carefully as we head into early next week. And then still got to try to nail down this Valentine's weekend system. Last year was a big snow that weekend. This year, we don't have all the players like last year, but there is a significant potential for a low pressure to be in our neck of the woods. We just got to gauge the temperature profiles and the overall setup, and it's clear as mud, basically, today. All right, here's a look from the satellite from space. You can see the clearing working its way in, dry air working in slowly. You see snow flurries, little specks of white showing up there, so a few flakes flying by. Thanks for all the reports, by the way. Appreciate that. Temperature right now, 37 locally. The sun's coming out in Jasper. You're up to 36. If we can have sun between now and 5, we may get close to, say, 39 here in Louisville. Maybe 40, but probably 39 the way it's looking now for highs. All right, Futurecast tonight. Chilly night tonight in the 20s. Then tomorrow we'll get more of a south wind. I think we're going to be a little warmer with this south wind flow than what the model's indicating here. It says about 44 for Louisville. I think we'll probably be about 5 better than that, closer to 50 here in the city. And a lot of us will be in the 40s, but I think in the city, I think closer to 50 is a little more likely. Then as we into Saturday, lower 50s, I think will be common theme over a good chunk of wave country. Clouds may increase Saturday night, and then Sunday, the model, this particular model can't see all of Sunday, but we at least start off on a somewhat mild note by noon, right around 40 degrees. And then that leads into Sunday night. This is when we have, this is the GFS model. This is when our Arctic front drives in from the northwest. I'm showing GFS because just about every model is in good agreement now on how this is going to play out. And it's going to roll in. Initially, again, we're going to be warm. So I think it's a pretty good confidence in this being rain initially Sunday night into early Monday, and then go into snow Monday morning. I would say a couple of the models, I think it was the Euro, was a little more on the mixed side before we go to all snow. I think it's going to be pretty much going to snow. So you may see us trend down on the high temperatures on Monday once we get closer to the event. Right now we'll kind of split the difference until we get closer. Notice the darker blues here. This is more of a moderate snow, and that's more orographic lift for the bluegrass area, the Tennessee Plateau, into the mountains of East Kentucky. So they get some enhancement here, and that is where you can get the heaviest snow amounts. Louisville is always on the edge of any type of that orographic lift. Usually Frankfort, Lexington, Danville, you guys benefit more from that kind of a scenario than we do here in Louisville. Otherwise, general light snows, gusty winds look quite common as we head into Monday and even on Tuesday. And when you look at the GFS Buffget, again, you read this right to left, the profile on the temperature is not as cold. It's coming up slightly, just a few degrees, but it makes a difference in snow ratios, but still impressive. 10 to 1 or 12 to 1 is our typical snow ratio for a snow event in Louisville that's, temperature's right at 32 degrees. In this case, though, we are going to be colder, so this is where we normally would be, and this blue line is the snow ratio, the light blue line. And you see that we are going to, we have a little bit of a dip downward there to about 12, but other than that, we're going to climb close to 20 to 25 on the ratio, especially toward the end when the core of the coldest air moves in for Wednesday. It'll be somewhat cold initially, but really gets cold toward the end, so we're going to split the difference between the higher moisture in the front end, lower moisture in the back end, but higher ratios. So this is going to be a pain for the Weather Service because when it comes to advisories, I mean, this could be a long event here of constant snow showers and accumulations that can cause some slick roads to develop, and accumulations will highly vary. Now, the buff gets down, I know it's hard to read, it's given Louisville about 2 inches of snow. Some of that could be blowing around with the wind as well, so keep that in mind. Just enough, again, to probably not close a lot of the school systems, though some may close, but even with an inch of snow, but enough for everybody to get around and out and about. And this is the kind of snow, now I love snow, but I don't like the kind of snow that's real light like this, because to me it's more dangerous when you have lighter snow accumulations in cold weather below freezing, because everybody's out and about working still and getting around, but the roads can be slick and dangerous, and more accidents seem to happen. So to me, snow big, keep everybody home and safe, and no worries about any major problems, and melt it off quick and get back to normal. That's the kind of snow I love. I'm a snow lover, but that's the kind of snow I love. These little bitty ones, I love snow, but they are, to me, a more annoying event for a lot of travelers and for forecasts. So Weather Service got a challenge because they got to look at duration and impact on this event. But we'll watch this carefully. I know you school kids are going to be watching it carefully too for next week. And you teachers, I think I hear more from the teachers now than I do from the kids when it comes to snow. Okay, here is, this is going to be the Euro showing the 500 millibar. Again, a good agreement here on all the models, how the trough digs in here. A good chunk of Arctic air right over the Ohio Valley. But the NAO is positive. So this means it's progressive cold air. It cannot stick around for very long. It's going to move on out as we head toward the end of next week. All right, so that leads us into Thanksgiving. What is it with me and holidays? I get them all confused. This leads us into Valentine's weekend. Now, I mentioned the polar vortex looks to get displaced. Now, it's not, so far, we're not seeing a good sign. So this is the ensemble by the, I believe this is the Canadian model, of the polar vortex coming straight into the United States. Don't see that. It looks like it's going to give us like a glancing blow, if you will, across Canada as we head into Valentine's weekend. Now, that is important. Now, it is going to cause a tight gradient on temperatures from the cold air to some warm air, because this flow at 500 millibars, I mean, this is a straight on from California flow. That's a warm flow trying to battle out the impact of the cold air to the north. So we're going to have a battle zone set up right across the Ohio Valley as we enter Valentine's weekend on how warm we actually will get. Keep in mind, Arctic air that we're going to have in place earlier in the week with the snow showers and everything, Monday and Tuesday and part of Wednesday. That cold Arctic air is going to be at the surface level. Is going to be, you're looking at the upper layers of the atmosphere is what I'm showing you here. But the cold Arctic air is going to be the hardest to get out of the way. So we got to keep that in mind too, even though we're getting a blowtorch from aloft, at least on the ensemble from the Canadian. Here it is on the GFS, again showing a very similar setup. And here's the Euro, which shows a classic, what we call a Rex block. This is when you get the dip here in the east, and then you get more of a weird shaped cutoff low here in the southwest. We call that a Rex block, which can, when you eject the energy out, can get interesting for winter storms in the eastern part of the country. But the Euro is significant in the idea that it's a little more aggressive with the polar vortex center across Canada, but it also keeps in a strong northwest flow. So it's going to drop some energy down, it looks like, and ignore this part of the energy in California. But when you are going to have that much of a low possibly forming in California, that is only going to help induce the southwest wind ahead of it. So this low is going to drop down out of Canada, but there's no doubt we are going to attempt to warm up ahead of it. Now, here are the impacts. Now, again, these are operational runs. Please do not hold me to these, because that's why I'm just showing these to verify what we're up against and the differences and why you can't trust operationals right now. This is eye candy for snow lovers from the Canadian. It's the same deal. It's got the the cold air, and what it does is it drops down a piece of energy just like the Euro would, but it's very dynamic as it moves through the area and gives us a rain to accumulating snow event. But then you look at the GFS. The polar vortex influence is pretty much gone, so any energy that's going to move in across the north is not really a dive to the southeast. It's more of a glancing blow through the Great Lakes. That would be more of a rain event for us. Not a big deal. And here's the Euro, just came in. Again, it's still holding on to that polar vortex influence. You obviously see the energy diving down, but again, you're going to have a south flow ahead of that. Question is, at that point for February 13th, Valentine's weekend, how warm are we going to be aloft and at the surface? Could this be an overrunning deal? Could this be freezing rain or sleet, then rain, then to snow on the backside? So there's a lot of questions of Valentine's weekend. Confidence is low. So just stay tuned. In fact, look at the GFS. We call this a spaghetti plot. GFS ensemble ideas over the possibility where the storm tracks could all be. What a mess. I mean, you generally see the polar vortex track through here. You see the polar jet through here, and you see the subtropical jet through here. So you can see the main jets showing up, but you still see the wild members and influences of possibilities. I mean, that's like a kid took a crayon to the stain. And notice the Arctic Oscillation, anytime it goes negative to positive, we usually get a winter storm, or at least a big storm in the eastern part of the country. We saw that in January. We could see that again later. And for snow lovers, the long-range CFS shows snow all the way into mid-March, and so does the Euro. So winter may have a long staying power.